Okay, I'm going to apologize because I feel like this might be awful. I'm so hungover. I don't know how, but I could barely function this morning trying to get my kids to school. I got them there, but it was a massive struggle. And I'm like legit a little shaky. So this podcast might not be great, but gonna do my best. Yesterday was awesome. We started the day with flag football and we won our game there, which was a great little start to the day. My kids continue to need a lot of work. But the other kids on the team carried the team and we won, and it was so fun. But right after we had to really rush out because to try and make the 1:25 kickoff was going to be tight. So we came home, chatted real quick, got everyone in the car. We brought our girls to the game, or my girls, the three oldest. Tyler is still in like that napping phase, and I just don't want to deal with it. Like, I don't want to deal with her screaming in the middle of the game because she's supposed to be napping. She doesn't want to be there. I don't really want her there when she's like that. So she stayed home. I brought my other three. They were awesome. They loved being able to see Dad. Actually, the reason I brought them is because Sawyer randomly was like, I want to go watch Daddy play football. So I said, okay, let's do it. And they'll probably continue to come to the games from here on out because they did a great job, and they were just great. One thing on that real quick, I don't let my kids use iPads except for in two scenarios: on a flight and at a football game. So that saved me. That saved us. So they get so excited to get on a flight, which is great because then I don't have to deal with them screaming at everybody or screaming at me on the flight, and they get to use their iPad. So they get super excited and I don't hear from them for 4 hours, which I know that's too much screen time, but you know what? They never get them. So I don't care. And also, can we talk about, I feel like kids that use iPads know so much. Like my girls, I was like, how do all these kids know their letters, their numbers already at 3 and 4? And my girls are like, can't even sing their ABCs still. I mean, they can, but here, kind of. And everyone's like, it's the iPads. Like they learn on the iPads. So that's something I might want to dive into later is what really is the best amount of screen time? Because if you're learning when you're younger on it, anyways, I got sidetracked. But yeah, so they watched the first quarter and then I was like, do you want your iPads? And they crushed their iPads and then got to celebrate with Daddy after. So they were awesome. It was so fun to have them there. I know Matthew was pumped that they were there. And at least watched the first quarter. Other than that, they didn't care. But an awesome game. I mean, our defense obviously never been a part of a team that this defense is incredible. And so fun to watch. I mean, it was funny. Someone's like, I feel like you get more excited when the defense is on the field than when Matthew is. And that was someone in our suite that said that to me. And I just said, well, I guess when Matthew's out there, I'm a little nervous. And when the defense is out there now, I'm like, this is going to be fun. Like, what's going to happen next? How many sacks it's a different feeling than I've ever had with any of the previous teams. I mean, they are the best defense in the league. I might be biased. I don't know. I really don't know every defense. So I just think they're good. But it was awesome. And again, Matthew, after he's walking off the field, looks up to our suite and our girls are, just on top of the world yelling at him. And then he came up to the suite. I don't know if I took shots then. I don't know because I wasn't actually drinking during the game. I didn't have a physical cocktail the entire game, but I was taking shots. And I think that's where you can get in a lot of trouble. And I did. I was hurting really bad this morning. And I told Matthew, I was like, I went to bed feeling fine. Like I'm confused. Like maybe it was the food. And he was like, babe, you asked me like the same question like 5 times. And I was like, nope, definitely not the food. Definitely the alcohol. Okay. So it was awesome. We had such a good time. We had family, friends again in town. Such a big game, and just so fun to watch Matthew smile and enjoy himself. And God, our own line played. I mean, we just all around was a good game. I'm so sorry. I'm legit shaking. Okay. And I love to see, you know, him hit Deshaun on that long one because he missed Deshaun a few times. And God, that was heartbreaking because he would have scored on the other times too. But finally got one to him, which loved seeing that. And then, yeah, it was just a good game. I know I'm rambling. All right. So today, that's going to be like the football for the most part. I feel awesome about it, except for the fact that I'm so hungover that I can't function and like can't breathe. Like, I don't know, this is weird. I'm actually going to bring my mom in today. She is here visiting, and I wanted to dive into some mom things because I feel like that's really what I know. I do not know football because I don't play it. I know certain things about it, but I'm not I'm not an analyst. I'm not anything. I'm just a wife of a player. So instead, I'm going to bring my mom in, and we're going to dive into, I'm like a coffee tongue, but whatever. And we're going to dive into a few things that people had submitted via the email I left, and just kind of start from there and see where it goes. I mean, she's funny. So I hope you guys enjoy her as much as I do. All right. So just make sure we're near. Just make sure we are on that. Okay, so as I mentioned, this is my mother, Leslie Hall. I guess I can say your full name. I don't know. Her and my dad are visiting from Atlanta. If you guys know, I was born and raised in Atlanta. They still reside there. And they got in, when did you get in? Saturday. Yeah, Saturday. So they got to see the girls play flag football yesterday and attended the game, the other football game as well. And it's a good day.
It was a great day.
It's a good day.
It was a really, really good day.
Yeah. I said the girls struggled a little bit.
Just a bit.
Football.
That's okay. They're 4 and 3.
So is everyone else.
No.
We think.
No.
Probably not, because they're way bigger. But yeah, they struggled. Anyways.
A little bit.
Yeah. And I said this earlier, came home, all got in the car, went to the game, had a great day. Girls were awesome. Excited.
They were.
I mean, like if you watch, it's hard not to be excited in that stadium too. I mean, the whole vibe of it, the DJ's going, I mean, my girls were dancing the whole time.
It is.
I forgot y'all got on the big screen. Dad did.
Oh, did he?
Were you as tipsy as I was yesterday?
I think I might've been. Missed the big screen. Missed that.
Dad definitely was on it. I remember that. Yes. So I forgot about that. Our suite did get on the big screen. So fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, the whole day
I think I do remember that now. Yep. Mm-hmm. I do.
It was a really long day.
It was long. Yeah. But it was fun.
And you were on Atlanta time still.
Yeah. A little bit.
So that's hard. That's all right. And we all went to dinner after, which was fun, at a club, that Matthew and I just became members to. So it was all in all a great day.
It was
really great day. All right. So I wanted to dive into a few things that got sent to me to talk about. So when they wanted to know your reaction to when I told you about my brain tumor. So when we brought you, scoot in a little bit because they're not going to hear you. When we brought her up to California, or over to California. This is actually, I got diagnosed here because we had a spot here the last, I think, four years. And we were up here for the off season, and that's when I got diagnosed, and decided that it would probably be best to obviously tell our families in person and not over the phone. So we actually flew my mom in first, and then my dad and brother came in later because they were going on a golf trip with Matthew and his dad. So flew my mom in. Do you remember how it happened? Like, we sat you down.
I get that bad kind of feeling in your stomach when you asked me, when you first said, what do you remember how you felt? And that brought it back.
Yeah.
And I just remember, I can remember your faces when you were telling me, and I got stuck on the brain tumor.
Yeah.
You went on to explain what kind it was, but it took me a moment to get past that you had a brain tumor.
Yeah.
I mean, and then immediately you some cancer and all that. And I remember thinking, I couldn't believe it. I was like, are you? And then I got stuck on the brain tumor, thinking cancer before, and it took me a while to process the fact that it was acoustic neuroma, right?
Yeah.
And that
it was
something, and it was benign.
Yeah.
Benign was the big thing.
Yeah.
Because then when I watched you tell your dad and John, I jumped in real quick with the benign part.
Right.
So they understood, because I didn't
Yeah.
focus on, I know you told me that, I know you said that, but I didn't get it for a while.
And I feel like too, when I first got diagnosed, they told me they thought it was an acoustic neuroma, but you couldn't be certain.
Right.
But as I went to see more doctors and everything, it was pretty much 99.999% an acoustic neuroma. So, which is a benign tumor. If anyone doesn't, it's a benign tumor that sits on your some of your cranial nerves, and it's your facial, your auditory, your hearing, and your balance nerve. So I think like what I kind of wanted to dive into a little bit was obviously your reaction to it, but I feel like Matthew did a really good job that day. Kind of like slowing down the panic, because my family, we are quick to become anxious, and we're just those higher energy people, where Matthew's so even keeled that he was able to kind of like from the get-go, calm it down.
Yes.
State the facts.
Yes.
But
he's like that in every situation.
Yeah.
Any type of trauma or any type of exciting, moment.
Yeah.
Or things, he stays just like this.
Yeah.
And you can tell that's just the way he is.
Yeah. Well, you can talk about it too in the waiting room.
Yes.
So when I was getting my tumor removed,
12 hours.
It was supposed to take 6.
12 hours.
But when they went in, I had an artery that was laying randomly where it wasn't supposed to be. And that was the portion of the brain that they were the track to the tumor, but there was an artery sitting there. So they couldn't do that. So then they had to rework a little bit.
Yes.
So it ended up taking 12 hours, and I'm sure people have heard this, but they give you a beeper. So they gave Matthew a beeper, and my whole family's there waiting. And he just keeps getting these paged, right? Which
and we all heard it.
Yes.
We're all in this
so you get the little beep, beep, beep.
And then everyone's just like,
And I think the first thing was like, hit a roadblock or something like that. Gonna take longer than expected. Well, they all didn't think it was going to be double the time.
And they didn't really explain what the roadblock. They just said, we're all going.
Well, you can't on a pager. You can't.
I know.
I don't think. I don't know.
I don't know, but it was like, what?
Yeah. So, but again, he was like totally calm about it. And if it would have just been my family, it would have been a full-on panic.
Yeah.
But he was just like, she's in good hands.
Right.
If something was really going on that was, really bad, they would let us know. Like,
absolutely.
So I feel like, again, he's just a really good, and he was really, but going back to us telling you, it obviously helped having Matthew there, because if I would have told you by myself, I would have been a hot mess. I don't even think I would have been able to get the words out. And then you would have been, I know,
it would have been bad.
We're like the same person.
Yeah, it would have been really bad.
So, it would have been tough, but finding out your kid is sick. We do a lot of work, and we'll go to these hospitals, and you see these kids who are battling, and they're young, and you see the parents, and it just rips at you.
It's bad.
So to find out your kid is, and I was an adult at this point, obviously I had my kids, but you just want to like get in there. You'd rather just take it all from them. Like, give it to me. Don't give it to my kids, kind of,
That's the way it is.
Yeah. So, and
why is this happening to you? That's
how you feel.
Why are these things happening to her?
I know.
Well,
could you imagine if you had a young child?
No.
It breaks my heart. And we've had a ton of friends who've had kids who have had some things going on where they're battling at the beginning, and you just can't really imagine. I couldn't imagine my kids going through things that I've seen kids go through. Like it breaks you. Like rather anything and everything happen to you than your kids. So I think like when I told you that, I know you probably felt like, why can't I just, take her place? Maybe not. I don't know. I'm not the favorite child. So who knows?
Depending on the day.
My brother is.
Depending on the day. No.
Sorry, Ginny. We're both not.
Yeah.
Ginny's my older sister. So, but yeah,
That's not true.
That whole, dynamic of, and like, I could only imagine in the beginning stages, if you kind of start noticing something with your child and then you go to the doctor and they come in, I feel like that face and you just know something's going on. Harder than you ever going through anything.
Right.
Like, well, I'll fight and battle, but I just don't want my kids to have to do that. So, I mean, I feel like that was a question that wanted to be asked, because when moms do go through, or parents go through their child going, battling something, I just feel like it's so hard, not only for the child, obviously, but for the whole family dynamic. I mean, for the whole family.
Mm-hmm.
And you really just want to take it all from them and put it on yourself. And unfortunately, that's not the way
it works.
It works. But you also realize how resilient kids are, as opposed to some adults. I mean, they really are. So
let me back up. You are tough.
Thank you, Mom.
You are very tough. And you went through a lot. They had to cut her whole balance nerve. Her brain had to completely rewire and retrain her body, because they cut one whole nerve on the inside. So it was a lot, and you went through a lot, and it was tough.
Yeah, it was tough.
And I was so proud of you.
Thank you, Mom.
Because the way you fought.
Thank you.
I was very, very proud. It was just great parenting on my part.
I totally.
Tough.
But I learned a lot from you.
No, I'm just saying that I was just the way you and Matthew both. Yeah. The way y'all both took that on, and just I don't know, from the time you told me to the time we first saw you after it was all over. Mm-hmm. That was a rough period. Just waiting and waiting. Yeah. And then, even prior to the day of surgery. Yeah. Because there were so many complications, so many things that could maybe happen. Yeah. You might come out and you couldn't hear on one side. Mm-hmm. You might have had some kind of facial problems. Not that you couldn't live with. You could live with all of it. Yes, you could. Yeah. And that was the one thing.
And that was the most important.
That was the most important thing, because you wanted to be there for your husband and your children, your family. Yeah. But you fought hard. You had excellent physicians that took 12 hours to make sure those things did not happen.
You can't. Yes. I can't
say enough about them.
Yeah, yes. Dr. Thompson.
But I thought but the after thing and how quickly you were able to bounce back, that to me is amazing.
So, side story, how about this, which we've never told, and Matthew's totally fine with it, I'm sure. Well, yeah, he's fine. So when you have a brain surgery, they have you on steroids to keep the swelling down, and they slowly take you off of them. And they told us from the beginning, they're like, this might be tough for her because she's so small, and we're going to take her off of them, somewhat quickly. Like, we want her off. We want, her brain to start healing, whatever. So, Matthew, it actually was not his fault.
No,
I would say it was written, the pharmacy, like the way it was dosed out. Yeah. Took my, what was it called that I'm trying to say when you slowly take someone off medication?
Weaning, when you're weaning somebody off.
Yeah. So, the weaning process, the steroids that I was supposed to get each day was actually cut in half. So it was already an aggressive taper. And then the way they filled it, Matthew was giving me half of the steroids that I was supposed to be getting. Yes. So I ended up back in the hospital. That's another thing. Sweet guy. He felt so bad. And I said, and I looked at him and I said, well, I'm still here and I guess it only made me stronger.
Yeah.
I mean, that's all he was doing. He had it all labeled. He was on top of it. And it was just the dosing of the bottle was different than what was said on he felt terrible. But
it did scare us.
It did scare us because I ended up back in the hospital and I was throwing up, which throwing up after brain surgery is the worst feeling.
Yeah.
And my head felt like it was this big. It was terrible, but nonetheless, I'm here. We got through it.
Yes.
But you just never, the whole, like your kids getting sick. I couldn't imagine because I have my own now. And if Chandler or Sora came to me and said, Mom, I have a brain tumor, I would immediately.
We'll pray that doesn't.
Yeah. Well, of course.
We already.
Yeah. Hopefully we're done with those. I just couldn't imagine. So, but really quickly, we're going to divert away from this because we could go on and on about that whole day and that whole thing. But my mom was a physical education teacher for over 20 years, just at 20, over 20, something like that. So I kind of wanted to dive into a little bit of kind of the difference now with kids as opposed to when you were teaching and bringing us up. So both of my parents were full-time. They worked full-time. I had 2 older siblings. We had all these activities all the time. I mean, if you watch I try to take after my parents and getting my kids involved in anything and everything so they know what they like and dislike, and they're busy and they make friends. And I think it's important, to get them involved in a lot of things. So when I was young, when I was in kindergarten, my mom was still teaching. My dad had his business, and my brother and sister were at another school. I would ride the bus home in kindergarten, and my mom and dad paid a second grader. His name was Michael. To walk
$10 a week,
which is kind of a lot for a second grader, to walk me to the door of our house, get me inside, give me an ice pop
after the bus.
Yeah. And then he was like, all right, see you later. I'd be alone for, I don't know, a couple hours.
No, that's not true. And I think you were a little bit older than that.
No, I wasn't.
I think you were. I think you were a little bit older. I think Michael was a little bit older. Anyway, it worked. She's here.
If you did that today, Child Protective Services would be called on you. Okay. So the difference again between parenting back then and parenting now, I think they're both hard. I think we have so much knowledge now about our kids' well-being and things like that it's great. But I also think sometimes ignorance is bliss. I do. I think pressure on parents right now to do everything perfectly is insane. I get the whole safety of the car seat. Thank you guys. I think I posted a couple years ago, we weren't even leaving and someone was like, they're not buckled in right. You need to tighten that, move that clip up. And I was like, whoa, got it. Okay. I do know that. We just weren't even pulling out of our neighborhood. But I think sometimes.
Well, those kind of people have way too much time on their hands.
That might be true. They maybe need more kids or
maybe
something.
They either need or find something else to do if they're spending that much time on social media critiquing everybody.
Well, that happens. There's so much, it's called mom shaming.
Yeah. Well,
it's like a thing. And, and I think the breastfeeding thing, I came out and said I used formula with my last one because I was miserable trying to pump and take care of kids. And and got crushed for it. I mean, there were a lot of people that were so awesome that you're doing what's best for your family or whatever. And then there were the people that were like, how dare you? You have all the time in the world. Why wouldn't you feed your kid the best stuff? And I'm like, oh my God.
So we didn't have to deal with
any of that. Judgmental.
We didn't have to deal with any of that.
You have no idea what's happening.
Yeah. Well, we didn't have all that social media. So we just, nobody was judging us or watching us, and everybody's doing, and the way we raised y'all, we were all too busy just trying to survive.
Yeah.
Our friends were doing the same thing. Their kids, we had this great little neighborhood. Everybody took care of each other, kind of watch out. That's why you could get off the bus with a second grader, because the neighborhood, everybody kind of watched out, and everyone knew that I was teaching and I would be home soon, just like I knew their schedule.
Yeah.
So we all just worked together.
It's so different though.
Well, I just think there's so much put out there. I don't know. And people read it or watch it, and then they critique each other. You can't, unless you're living in someone's shoes.
How do you have the right to know? I mean,
I don't know.
But it happens. It happens a lot, and it sucks. It really does. It sucks being a parent right now when there's so much pressure and you have to do it perfectly, or else someone's going to say something. And
I think that's when you have to just say, you know what? We're living our life. We're raising our children the way we want to raise them. And you know what? You do you.
And let us do us. I know. Mm-hmm. And I do agree. But it does. I mean, it's just, I feel like moms and dads put pressure on themselves because, like, for instance, my kids' school, they are able to either purchase lunch or have lunch made from home. And obviously there's so many different reasons of why you might bring lunch or why you might purchase. For me, the only thing that, this is terrible. I see all these bento boxes with all these healthy, great options for kids. And it's great. I think that's amazing. I just am not going to be the one to do that. Like, I'm so sorry. And I know there might be times that I will, but for the most part, I was like, you know what? Maybe buying lunch at your school, you'll kind of learn to like different things. And if I pack you a lunch every day, one, I have to pack 4, well, 3, Tyler's not in school yet, but eventually 4.
Yeah.
And 2, all you'd want is peanut butter and jellies. And I can't even pack you that because it's a nut-free school. So, I mean, but again, I see all these moms, everyone comes in with their own lunches and then there's me and I'm like, nope, I'll be buying today as every day. And I walk out of there and I'm like, should I be making them lunch? Like you unknowingly like put pressure on yourself just because you see other moms doing things. And I feel like in this day and age, you feel like a bad mom if you're not doing it perfectly.
No.
So, but I do like
it's perfect.
There is no such
There is
thing.
no perfect.
I agree.
Right. I think you almost have to do what is best for the family.
Right.
And so you can get these kids all ready and get them out in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you'd have to wake up at 5 o'clock to be making lunches and
getting them. I mean,
no.
Yeah.
You have to do what's best for you.
Yeah.
And for your family.
And sometimes, you know what? You got to put yourself first.
There you go.
Like I'm so sorry.
Did anyone ever pack your lunch?
No.
No.
Again, this is where I get it.
No.
Yeah. I don't know. I just,
you're busy. And
that's another thing I want to dive into. That's a great transition because I wanted to talk to you about, she worked full time and she had 3 kids. I don't know the working full time. That is not, but my mom does. And
can I say something here? It was a lot easier for me to
You have to speak up.
Okay. It was a lot easier for me to go to work and teach other children than to stay home with mine. That's the hardest job there is a stay-at-home mom working and taking care of children. I couldn't do it. I couldn't handle it. A lot of my friends chose to do that in our neighborhood, which I was fine for. They were there when Kelly got off the bus, but I always admired them. They are the hardest working women, those that are raising children at home. And unfortunately, it wasn't me. I was a better mom working outside the home than coming back in. And my kids,
and that's a real thing.
My kids, we always made sure we didn't make much money, but we made sure they were in wonderful preschools because I had to be gone all day and I could pick them up right afterwards. But most of what I made went to put them in school and went to put you guys in a place so that I felt good about going to work and your dad felt good about me working. So I think that's important, but I also think it's very, very important to note that women that stay home, I truly admire because I couldn't do it. It was too hard.
Well, I mean, to be totally honest, I send mine to school because all day is a lot. And I think a little bit of separation from your kids is important for their health and your own.
Yeah.
But I do like these women, I think, women taking care of kids at home or women working.
A lot of balancing.
Both are incredible. But again, like the full-time job, like I don't know that side of it. But I do know that I feel like working moms go through a lot. And to be totally honest, shaming working moms, like, okay, this is terrible. The mom shaming going on, but if you shame a working mom, my temper would be so short because I'd be like, I am doing my effing best. Okay.
Thank you for saying effing.
You're welcome. I have moms on. It'll probably come out later, but I am working a full-time job. My kids are healthy. They're happy. So get off my back. Mm-hmm. I mean, so I this whole, with the mom shaming and the ignorance is bliss, sometimes when you don't know what the perfect mom looks like, it's kind of nice.
There you go.
So, and I feel like back in the day, you guys were all just trying to survive, but now everyone's trying to survive, but they have everyone's opinions coming in left and right of how they should do it or what's best. But the reason I want to talk is do what's best for you. Because if you do what's best for you as a parent, that's what's going to be best for your child. Because if you're a happy parent, they'll be a happy kid.
Happy. The whole thing works so much better.
And I'm not saying put yourself first all the time, but I think sometimes you have to because we forget to do it as moms or as parents. Mm-hmm. So, and your kids are going to be fine. If you decide, you know what, maybe I'll leave you at school a little longer so mommy can go
work out.
Yeah.
Just take a quick run.
Or go get a little, I don't know, with the massages where you lay on the 10-minute massage on your back. I don't know, whatever you're into.
Yeah. And don't feel guilty about that, about giving yourself a little extra time.
Yeah.
Because to tell you the truth, if the kids are in the right place, they don't want to come home anyway.
They don't want to come home. They never want to come home.
Yeah.
So that's a battle in itself, trying to get them well, that's a whole nother topic. So one last thing I want to talk about. Last week, Sawyer was very bad. She's kind of like going through a phase. She's not listening to anything or anybody. She's got an attitude. She's 4. I know.
She's 4. Yeah.
I understand she's 4, but still, like, I walked into school and I witnessed, like, it's different. Have an attitude with me. Don't listen to me because you know what? I can figure it out with you. But when I witnessed it with her teachers, I walked in, she was throwing some kind of tantrum. She was exhausted, but she was throwing some kind of tantrum, saying, oh, it was her. She had a unicorn sticker and her sticker ripped in half. And she was like, I want another sticker. Not asking, demanding. And I immediately was like, oh, hell no. So I walked over and I said, excuse me, we don't talk to anybody that way. And you use your manners. And then she just started like giving me like the bratty, like, just like, I'm not listening to you. I'm not. So then it was a whole nother dynamic to it. So we walked out and she continued to have an attitude and not listen through cheerleading practice, which I made her sit by me and watch, because if you caught it last week, if you're paying for a class for your child and they're not listening and they're causing issues in the class, take them out, because it's not fair to the people who are paying for their kids to be. And if their kids are listening, then you're not wasting your own money. You're wasting theirs as well. So like, take them out of the class because it's not fair. So I took her out of the class. She sat next to me, still with her attitude, and continue not to listen. And so I told her, you know what, Sawyer, you are not allowed at school tomorrow. And you are not allowed to color. Those are her 2 favorite things in life right now. So she helped me drop off everybody at the school the next day. She was a hot mess. She was pissed off. Helped me drop out of school, ran errands with me, watched me work out. I made her do anything and everything that was not fun, because I will not raise bitchy kids. And that's how I'm going to put it. And that's what she was acting like. And I just, and having 3 that are so close in age right now, Tyler's older, having 3 so close in age, if one starts acting that way, they gang up and they all start acting that way. So I had to put my foot down very firmly with Sawyer and I think it's somehow, it'll probably have to happen again. She's in this stage, but it worked. She was very kind the whole day she was with mommy. She listened. She sat there, did nothing. But Matthew and I have this discussion all the time. Us raising kids with the financial background we have now, we question of whether we're doing it right, because these kids they're spoiled rotten. I mean, if you look around, they have anything and everything that they want. And Matthew and I grew up with none of this. We were very well off. Like my dad,
we did just fine.
My dad worked so hard.
Yes, he did.
Matthew's family was fine, but it was not this. And
you had everything you needed, not necessarily everything you
100%. I want to dive into the hollow, but I think the podcast is going to be too long. So that's like the main topic that comes up with Matthew and I as to how we are raising our kids. And this is what we've come to, we want our kids, excuse me, you're fine. We want our kids to know that they have money, but we don't want them to act like it or show it. Know how lucky and blessed you are, but never show it and never act like it. And that's kind of what we've come to. Now, are we doing it right? Probably not, but we're trying. We were talking about the other day, we took them to Disneyland and we did the VIP thing where you get to go through the exits, because we had 3 toddlers and 2 adults. And I just was not feeling an hour-and-a-half line with 3 toddlers for a 45-second ride. So we did the VIP thing. We left. I said, and I made sure when we were walking through the exits, I said, I would stop and I'd say, look at this. This is normal life. Actually, this is even better than normal life because they're at Disneyland. But these lines, you are so lucky that you get to go through the back. And they're young. They're not really getting it. But I'm just trying to reiterate a little bit, because when we left there, I was like, how are we going to teach them how really lucky they are? Because this is terrible. I'm not going to Disneyland and waiting in 3-hour lines for a kid ride. I know they did it. I know my sister's done it, but I'm not doing it. And I hate to say that. That's okay. The one thing I will not do. And I was like, but my kids are going to have to know that they're going to have to wait in these lines eventually. So I just don't know. There's like a balancing that we're trying to figure out as to how we're going to do it. And I know that sounds bad that I don't want to wait in 3-hour lines for 45-second rides, but that's the God honest truth. And I told you guys I was going to be truthful. So Matthew and I, that's not something we're into. We'd rather just not go to Disneyland at all. And that's not fair to our kids either. So we're trying to figure this out is what I'm saying. And I feel like the whole parenting process is a figure it out as you go.
I think it is. I think you're right. I think you do what you think is right. That doesn't mean you might not have to circle back, have to, redo or try another way. Mm-hmm. But, the thing about the Disneyland or the Disney World, mm-hmm. Yes, the thing about the Disney World lines or the whatever you're waiting on. I do think there's a time when you're going to have to let them go through those lines. Now, whether that's with their AJ, their Aunt Jenny, or their Aunt Paige.
I know, but I would feel like the worst person ever if I was like, hey, take my kids to Disneyland, stand in all the lines. I'm not going.
No, but I'm just saying when one of them keeps the kids.
Yeah.
When they have the kids, they will,
I mean, let's be honest. I'm going to end up taking them to Disneyland and waiting in the lines. It's fine.
Yeah. Well, whatever. Eventually. I just think that it might have to happen a little bit so they live what.
Yeah.
No, they're not living in this fairy tale land all the time, because this isn't real world.
This is
not real world.
Not even close.
Say, well, and I think
coming back to that's why I think sports are so important. Activities for kids, because you're meeting kids from all different areas and all different.
A lot of them are team sports, so they have to learn to work together.
100%,
which is how life
so
is.
Important. Yeah,
we all have to work together.
Yeah, agree. So I mean, I just that's our biggest concern as Matthew and I as parents. Is trying to raise them to know how fortunate they are, but never show it and never act like it, because that's when you have no friends is when.
That's exactly.
Yeah. Like who cares? Anyways. All right. So I think that's kind of it for the mom talk. I wanted to keep this a little shorter just because I'm really, really hungover. And I think my mom's a little dicey too. So
speak for yourself.
But we're going to end it with rapid fire. Do you have your rapid fire questions?
I don't know. Do I?
Let's see. Did they send them to you? I had 2 of our friends send in my mom's rapid fire questions.
No.
Oh no. Okay. Well, I'll just ask you mine then. Ready?
Oh wait. Oh yeah.
Do you have a rapid fire that might be juicy that people might want to hear about? Maybe from a child, like about me?
Well, yeah, she was the third. And I'm glad we didn't have social media because people would have really been judging me because I leave her everywhere.
Oh,
and I didn't mean to, but I think my sister had her. She'd think I had her, and we both end up at a place and neither one of us had her.
This happened a lot.
It happened numerous times.
A bowling alley.
I could have really beat myself up about it.
A bowling alley, a mall.
Now the mall thing. Now the mall. Okay.
Okay.
That was poor parenting.
Yes, this is
the mall thing.
Learn from my mom's mistake.
You know what? It was Christmas, and I was
Christmas time at a mall.
3 kids, and she had just started walking, I think, and then I had
at 18 months.
Yes, yeah. She was probably 2. I don't know, but anyway, her siblings were 4
and 5.
4 and 5 or 6. Anyway, yeah. I was in a toy store. I was just looking around real quick, and they were playing with that train thing. All 3 of them were there, and I said, Jenny, Chad, watch Kelly. I'm going to run outside, to do something. Came back in. No Kelly.
I'd walked out.
She had just left the store. Now this is in the mall at Christmas time. It is packed. I mean, that is.
My mom had the whole mall shut down.
Oh my God, I did. I was screaming, I'm screaming, shut the doors. And everyone's looking at me. I mean, I lost my child, I lost my baby. And I mean, it was the most frightening thing ever.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine. Now that I had my own kids, I was running around. How did you let that happen?
And this isn't,
terrible parenting.
And this isn't back when they had security guards all over the place. They had to. I mean, I was screaming, and there was nobody around. I couldn't see. Everybody was just looking, And some woman was standing outside of Macy's, holding her, and I was totally content. Oh, she was fine, just holding her, and I'm racing around. It was just. So that was a bad.
Yeah, you left me a lot.
Very poor parenting. And then I left her in a van. And when I went in to pick up our candy for our candy sales at the bookstore, at the church by the ball field,
so we had to sell candy. To do something nice.
We have to sell candy.
And it backfires.
Yes, and I was in charge of all the teen mothers or whatever. I just left her in the van. I just left her in the van, and it was a nice, cool day. And I was just going to.
Can't do that anymore.
No, I just ran into the church. And I left her brother, her 3-year-old brother, 4. I think he was 4. I left Chad, and I said, Chad, watch your sister. I'm going to be right back. And so I went in, and all of a sudden, I'm waiting in line to get the candy. Turn around, there he is. And he goes, don't worry, Mom. I locked the car. And I went, shit. So I know she's not in any kind of, she's not going to be hurt in any way. But I'm sitting there in front of all of these parents picking up the child. My child's locked in the car. We can't get her out. She doesn't know how to press the button yet, whatever. Yeah, I have my 4-year-old telling me, it's okay, I locked it. I locked the car. She's safe. She's very safe.
Smart.
Yeah. So, when you lock a child in the car, it's a 911 call. Everybody comes. And so they got there, and they actually just popped the back window of the van and shoved Chad up inside to unlock the door.
So if you're being hard on yourself, just remember that my mom left me 2 times with my siblings who were 4. And the first time I disappeared, and the second time I was locked in a car. All right, one quick story. So my mom's an incredible mom. After she just got done telling every time she lost me, she really is an incredible mom. But one of her weaknesses is she can't cook. And not only that, she never even tried. So I never learned anything about it. And talking about these full-time moms having to do that, then make dinner, figure it out, take their kids to sporting events. I mean, I don't know how it gets done by any mom. But funny story. So Matthew, we were in college and he was like, hey, come over for a cookout. We're all going to be grilling, whatever. Sorry, this was so chapped. All going to be grilling, just like bring a side. And at this point, I'm like, oh, shit. Okay. Well, I have no idea how to cook. And I really want to try and impress him. And that's not possible with what
he's a great cook.
Yeah. Dude does nothing wrong, or not wrong, but nothing. He's very good at a lot of things, including cooking. I am not. So, and I have no background.
Well, I
didn't either. You're full-time mom. I mean, full-time working mom.
And I came from a full-time working mom.
Yeah. So like, is what it is. But I do remember that she used to make a badass hamburger helper. And if you don't know what that is, you need to go to a Kroger or Publix or Pavilions or whatever the hell the store is near you. Not the healthy stores, because they won't carry it.
No.
It's called Hamburger Helper. It comes in a box. So I'm like, you know what? I'm bringing Hamburger Helper. Gonna be so impressed. Like, shit's so good. So I show up and I'm like, all right, I brought my dish. Where can I start making it? And he's like, oh, perfect. Set up right here. I pour out the box and I'm like, wait, where's the meat? And Matthew looks at me and goes, you did not think that hamburger meat came in the box, did you? And I was like, well, now that you put it like that, I guess not. But yeah, I did. I didn't think my mom was going to the hamburger section to get meat. I honestly just thought it all came together.
I did cook a little.
Sloppy Joe's, Hamburger Helper.
Oh, we loved the spaghetti, tacos.
Oh yeah, tacos we crushed.
Yes.
McDonald's was big.
Chick-fil-A.
Chick-fil-A was later in life because we really couldn't.
No, we couldn't afford it
in the early life. But later in life, we got some Chick-fil-A in the mix.
Yeah. Ballpark food was big.
Yeah. I mean, come on.
A piece of pizza.
And that's another thing. Like
a hot dog.
Kids don't want sea bass. Okay. And we mix it into their rice so that they get the healthy sea bass. I don't do it. Chris does it, who y'all met last week. He's incredible. But they don't want it. They come home and they're like, Mom, or we'll be on the way home. They're like, Mom, is Mr. Chris cooking dinner tonight? I'm like, yes, he is. They're like, no, because it's healthy food. Kids don't want healthy food. So if you want to have a quiet night and enjoy yourself where they eat, get some McDonald's on the table.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay. And just chalk it up as a night that, you know what? It's calm. They eat. You don't have to beg them to do it. And it's good night. And that can happen for you every now and then. It's okay. Mm-hmm. We got sidetracked. Okay. So now let's go back to Rock 5. But yeah, the Hamburger Helper story is one of Matthew's favorite to tell because it just reemphasizes the fact that I'm a terrible cook.
You've learned.
Thanks to Home Chef.
There you go. That is. I love Home Chef.
My mom crushes Home Chef.
I mean, Home Chef is just.
And that's coming from two people that literally have zero idea how to make anything. Okay. So rapid fire for my mom. Here we go. What was your first impression of Matthew? Let's rephrase this question.
Yeah, I don't remember.
No. Once Matthew and I got out of the whole college relationship scene and became more official.
Yeah. Okay.
Kind of.
Right.
I don't really know.
Well, you know where the first time I met him?
Was it July 4th?
Yes.
Okay. So that was
the first
What was your
time.
first impression when you met him, when he came to the house for the July 4th thing?
Was very quiet.
Mm-hmm. Reserved.
He's very, very reserved. Yes. And very polite.
Mm-hmm.
That's just part of who he is. He doesn't like to take a lot of attention. He's just kind of really stays in the background. And I remember Sean more than I remember Matthew because of that big personality.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I remember them on the,
Sorry, Matthew.
What now?
Sorry, Matthew.
No. Matthew was
I'm just kidding.
Matthew was, I've learned now, of course,
now he's not quiet,
no, he's not anything like that, but I know why he was like that.
Yeah.
He was just very reserved, just didn't want to take the attention from everybody
else.
He does not like being the center of attention.
Hates it. I would say that's a pretty right on first impression.
Yeah.
The one that she's not telling you about is she never actually met him, but she got a phone call from my brother who got a phone call from a friend one night. And he called my mom and said, Mom.
He's out in Colorado Springs.
Yeah, my brother's in Colorado Springs and I'm in Athens, Georgia with Matthew.
He's a senior and she was a freshman.
I was a freshman. And he calls my mom and he goes, Mom, Kelly just got into a cab with Matthew Stafford. And my mom goes, who? And he was like, she left the bar and got in a cab with Matthew Stafford, the quarterback for Georgia. And my mom, and immediately, first of all, it was the fact that I got into a cab after a bar with anybody but my girlfriends. Yeah. Was the issue. It wasn't really who it was, because they didn't know him at all at this point.
And you were just barely in college.
Yeah. Yeah.
We all just started college.
It was quick.
Yes. Well,
I'll never forget it because I got a phone call that next morning that said, you need to come home. And I was like, the hell? And so I love the story too. My mom was talking to my sister and was telling her, all right, Kelly's coming home. We're going to talk to her. And she's like, what's going on? She's like, well, we heard that she got in a cab with Matthew Stafford after a night at the bar. And my sister goes, who's Matthew Stafford? Mom said, it's the quarterback for the Bulldogs. And she was like, that way, Kelly.
That's exactly it.
Very much my sister, just
man, I was like
making a joke out of it all. She was like, all right. Yeah. But my parents brought me home to discuss my choices.
And what your priorities should be.
Exactly. My grades were slipping. It was a bad time, it was college. It's the first couple months of college.
Yeah.
If your grades don't slip, you're not really living.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. Study hard, make good grades. It makes, you need to do it. But yeah, that was their actual first impression of Matthew. They never actually met him. They just heard about me,
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Last one. Ready? Reaction to last night's Lions game.
Oh my God. I felt like I was there. I felt like this is what we did every single game for 12 years. And they had it. They were winning it. And we were watching it. I mean, we're all like such Lions fans too, because, we grew to love the team and love the city.
Yes.
Because they were so good to my children.
That's it. Yes. But that place will be huge for us. But watching that, I was just like, to hit. I know.
Only the Lions.
It's so true.
It only happens to the Lions.
And I was reading something this morning. It popped up on my homepage of my Google that I was trying to get the rapid fire questions for you. And it was like, there was some officiating thing that happened. I didn't read it, but it was title of the article that caused them their win. So I want to dive into that after we get done with this. I want to see what happened. But I'm sorry. Are you fucking kidding me with that? A 66-yard field goal like that only happens
to the
Lions.
It's like the Aaron Rodgers Hail Mary. It's like Golden Tate not getting over in the Atlanta game when he did. All those things that
it's just heartbreaking.
It is. And it
damn heartbreaking. Mm-hmm. And those players,
they've been in every
and
game.
He didn't just make it; he bounced it in. Normally that hits and goes the other way, but nope, not for the field. It goes boop, boop, into it. Anyways, sucked so bad. But we're gonna wrap this up again because I don't know, I just don't feel great. So
I think this
is good. This is fun.
Yes, it was so much fun.
All right, so each week we ended the same, and I don't even know if you know this, but it's. You say Rayuda. Do you know what it means?
No.
Okay. Thank you for joining us and Rayuda.
What did I just do? What's Rayuda?